Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be doing part 2 of the ranking of every robot based on their performance in their episode. So, we're on season 1 episode 2 and we're going to get straight into it with the first robot that got eliminated, Scrapper. But actually before that we'll go through the tiers. So, I have added a new one called Detonator or Napalm. I think you know who's going in there. Then we have Dud tier, round 2 max, did fine, performed very well, and give it a trophy. So these are like the best robots. These ones are pretty good, like semi-finalists. These guys are just they could do well. They did pretty well. These guys, well, they couldn't go too far, but I feel like they can do something. These guys, how are they there? How did they even get there? Why would you build it? Should have built something better. So, first up we have Uglybot, and Uglybot was pinned, struggled to move, and then it got pinned to the wall by Shunt. Yeah, it even did worse than Barry. Barry at least moved. This thing just moved a little bit, and then Shunt just beat it up. Then we have Detonator. Okay, then okay, I'll talk about it. Shunt pushed it through the first round. It would have got eliminated if it wasn't for Shunt. In the second round, it didn't move. And because of that, it costed Uglybot a position, and Uglybot could have actually done something, I feel. If it moved a bit better, then I feel like it could have been a decent robot. Just like one of these two, but nope. Detonator has to come along and ruin that. No offense to the team though, the team's alright, but the robots are horrible. Next robot to be eliminated was Scrapper, and Scrapper is a bit interesting because on its first one, it didn't make it to the end, it did some bad driving. But then it like on the Bulldog, it like flipped over and it did some really good driving. They drove it over the line in reverse, which I feel like was pretty good. But then the fight with Cyclops, it got flipped over instantly. So I feel like it's between these two, since I feel like that weapon also did a tiny bit of damage to a Cyclops in its fight. So I feel like I'm going to put it at the top around 2 max. I feel like it couldn't go much further because, I mean, look at it. But the weapon the weapon did alright, and overall, it was just that first trial that really like brought it down. Now I have Laybot, and Laybot is very forgettable. It's definitely the most forgettable one in this episode, except maybe Uglybot. But in the first round, it made it to the end. I'm pretty sure. Let me just check that. Yep, it took forever to do it though. But it it gets points for comedy because it in this little slot here, it pulled out a fan, like a tiny little fan, and started blowing away the smoke, which probably bumps up a tier actually. And then basically, that was it. Because then in the Bulldog, it made it over. It took a while, but it got third place. It's just above ahead of Scrapper. Actually, if we're putting like Nemesis up there, then I feel like we've got to put Echo tier for that a fan, because that was actually pretty funny. I did laugh at that a little bit. Then we have Mortis. Now Mortis, in the first round, it got pinned by Shunt and actually didn't make it, which I'm very surprised because it is Mortis. Then it, like, in the pits, they showed how strong the arm. This is actually going to count it because it did show its performance. The team just swung a hammer at the robot and it just bounced off, which proves how strong the armor was. That helps it. In the Bulldog, it beat them all very, very quickly. It got there like basically straight away, which definitely bumps up a bit. And it absolutely destroyed Laybot. Like, just pummeled it. Put a few holes in it. And then it flipped it over, which is pretty good. So, I feel like, and then in its final with Cyclops, it just pushed it around a little bit. Which doesn't help it too much, especially because it did some really bad driving in that fight. It probably should have won that fight though, but oh well. I feel like it's on the borderline of these two. I feel like it's either right at the end here or at the top here. It flipped over a robot. I think it's right at the bottom here. Because I feel like beating Shunt is a bigger achievement than anything that this did, which is why these two are up here. But it did fine. It definitely did well, but I feel like it did something that I could have done, and its axe could have worked a little bit better in its final against Recyclops, and it could have done something else that Recyclops did, and Recyclops will be going right there. And let me explain why. In its first run, it did it very quickly. I think it got first place, and it absolutely barged past all the house robots to get there. Then, actually, I'll talk about the main thing it did last. So, it flipped over Scrapper, which is it was fine. It flipped over a robot using its flipper. That's something that Mortis can do without using flipper. Not the biggest achievement, but definitely puts it at least performed very well too. And then its final, it just got shoved around, but it showed a bit of aggression that kind of won it. I feel like Mortis should have won that, but it won it, so it's here. And then I'm pretty sure it was the Bulldog. It did something that really got it in this tier and this high up to beat these two. It flipped over Matilda. And that really puts it on high level. Well, I feel like it is in the middle of these two. I feel like that is good. If I can't, it has a powerful enough flipper to flip over Matilda. At the time, that was just insane. How it flipped over a robot that was that heavy. And yeah,